Is that a pocket in your pocket? Or are you just excited to see me? My name is Elliot, welcome to the Retro Future. Let's take a look at the Analogue Pocket. 2 years ago, Analogue announced the Pocket, an FPGA-based handheld that would contain a beautiful crisp screen. It would have an excellent build quality and there would be no lag. This would allow us to play our retro games that we love in a way never previously experienced. And all with zero emulation. Analogue are the leading company in redesigning retro consoles. They bring them up to modern specifications and allow us to play them on our beautiful HD TVs. Unfortunately, however, for the average person, Analogue's products have been pretty out of reach. Not only have some of their products been limited editions, but in general their production numbers don't quite satisfy the demand of retro enthusiasts worldwide. As well as that, unfortunately, is the price. With great quality comes expensive parts. Therefore, these products are a lot more expensive than the Chinese emulators you can buy on Wish. I'm gonna cut to the chase on this. The Analogue Pocket as a full package comes in at $500. And another $100 if you want the fancy cables. Bruh. But as we will soon discover, this isn't just a Game Boy. There is so much hiding under the hood. Put simply, this is without a doubt the best possible way to play your retro games. The quality, unparalleled. The design, nothing short of art. Dear Analogue, thank you very much. So YouTube has received a review unit a few weeks before the release of the Analogue Pocket, which is a bloody great thing because I am absolutely skint. And my initial thoughts out of the box was, holy shit! Before we go any further, let me try and explain what this thing actually is and why I'm so hyped and why everyone else in the world is so hyped for its release. And I genuinely do not believe that I am qualified enough to explain the following information, but I'm gonna give it a go. Let's try. So this thing is an FPG... Oh yeah, I'm gonna be reading this off of a script. I don't actually understand any of this. So this thing is an FPGA-based handheld. That really is what makes this thing what it is. As you can see, they want you to know that. What is an FPGA? It's a thing that makes it good. Right, now we're up to speed with what this is. The FPGA chip used in Pocket in essence transforms the Analogue Pocket into different consoles, depending on which game it's playing. So it reprograms itself into a 1-1 low latency modern spec version of each console. That's then connected to a motherboard. That motherboard sits inside of a very high quality shell with a beautiful screen connected to it, and there we have it. $600 please. None of that system on a chip rubbish that all the Chinese handhelds come with. This thing is a beast. Now I know that's confusing, but don't worry, it gets more confusing. There's 2 FPGAs inside this thing. Why? Analogue want developers and the really tech smart people to actually use their Pocket as an open source device for them to do all of their crazy coding and stuff with it. They're not that proud and high horsey that they're not going to allow people to utilize it to its full potential. That's also a really promising sign that Analogue aren't just going to move on from this and release another thing in a couple months' time. Unscrewing the back reveals some header pins which the developers can use to connect it to their computer and their fancy Arduinos and Raspberry Pis. I think that's how that works. And then they can do whatever they want with it. I think they can even turn it into a hairdryer. That might not be true. As of today, the Analogue Pocket does not come with much software to look at. It's a fairly stripped back version of what this will eventually become. Over the last 2 years, Analogue have also been working on something called Analogue OS, which is a very clever name if you ask me. And basically, Analogue OS will open up Pocket to its full potential and give you the proper user experience you would expect. It will also give it some major features, which will allow it to compete against the emulation devices, but without using emulation. So there's some crazy features on this thing, such as save states. When Analogue OS is released, save states will be a much more robust feature called memories. One of the things that's quite important to note is that they've implemented save states with original physical cartridges. Save states not using emulation is very difficult to pull off, but Analogue have done it using the FPGA and they're very clever technicians. As for the build quality, Pocket uses a combination of very high-end materials. The screen is protected by Gorilla Glass, the same stuff they use on modern smartphones. The enclosure is designed with the same high-grade ABS plastic used in the latest controllers. If Pocket was made out of metal, it would naturally be a lot more expensive. This is then complemented by soft-feeling buttons, which have the perfect amount of travel and authentic use of silicone membranes to recreate the feel of an actual Game Boy. The screen has 10 times the resolution of the original Game Boy. It's a 3.5-inch 615 ppi 1600 by 1440 LTPS screen. Did I get that right? Yeah, I think I did. It has a variable refresh and 1.5mm of that Gorilla Glass I was on about protecting the screen. As for inputs and outputs, Pocket has a D-pad, 4 action buttons, micro switch start and select, and a menu button in the center. Of course it has shoulder buttons since this thing plays Game Boy Advance. There's a link port on the bottom alongside of a USB-C port, power indicator LEDs, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. There's a micro SD card slot on the right and volume buttons on the left, as well as a multi-function power button which also acts as a sleep button to instantly put the Pocket to sleep during gameplay. So if you're called for dinner, you can just quickly press that button, it'll put it to sleep, you can pick it up again afterwards, and you're right back where you were. And of course the link port can be used with all of the popular peripherals, such as the Game Boy sewing machine. And it is of course compatible with the Pocket sonar. As well as that, this thing has stereo speakers. A lot of people don't know, but the Game Boy was actually in stereo. However, all of the Game Boys only came with one speaker, and one of the Game Boys, arguably the most popular one, the Game Boy Advance SP, didn't even have a headphone jack. So therefore, a lot of people won't even know what a lot of the games they played truly sounded like, which is a very exciting thing to be able to get a proper experience of the game. Now the final port is this one, the Game Boy Game port. Out of the box, this thing plays Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance cartridges. However, you can purchase adapters for $30 each, which will allow you to then use physical Neo Geo Pocket cartridges, Atari Lynx, Game Gear, and TurboGrafx games. Now I think we have a good understanding of what the Pocket is. Let's take a quick look at some of the games running on it. So let's start off with a DMG game. This right here is Snake Roy. Oh, what, you haven't heard of Snake Roy? Well, that's because this thing is a Mega Duck game that was put onto a knockoff Game Boy cartridge. So yes, this will work with the knockoff Game Boy cartridges. So here we are playing a Game Boy Color cartridge. This is Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. Oh. As you can see, it worked. Oh. So here we are, a little bit of Game Boy Color. I'm so happy with this thing, honestly. Just look at how well this runs, and the screen is just unbelievable. What a beautiful little thing, seriously. Oh, for fun. You can also use this thing as a digital photo viewer. Using the micro SD card, you can load it up with all of your photos that you love, like this really bad haircut I once have. Set that down on a mantelpiece, and boom, it's a perfect little picture frame. This is actually a lie. This is a ROM cartridge which contains image of me on it. This thing will of course work with things like WarioWare Twisted, which has a little accelerometer inside it. It's a complete hardware clone. Have I made that clear already? So there is actually going to be a part 2 to this video, and that's going to contain things like the dock, the different adapters, some of the cables, and the case. None of that arrived before the 13th, which is the day that we can release this video, so there is going to have to be a follow-up video after this. But let me run through what the dock is, since it's quite possibly one of the most exciting parts of Analogue Pocket. So for 100 big ones, you can buy a dock. This allows the Pocket to then be played on your TV using HDMI. Pocket doesn't naturally have HDMI out. You will need the dock to do that. The dock also contains all of the wizardry to connect Bluetooth controllers, as well as the upscaling technology that Analogue uses for its other products. Now let's quickly talk about the adapters. $30 for each of those little things does seem like quite a lot, but it does allow collectors to actually play their physical games that they have in their collection on a very high quality device. It doesn't actually contain a lot of technology inside it. All it does is just move the pins around to be able to physically plug it in to the pocket. So there we have it, the Analogue Pocket. What an absolute beast. Now let's try and get the obvious comparison out of the way. Emulators can be picked up for 1/10 of the price, and to the untrained eye, will look exactly the same. But this device certainly isn't marketed towards the untrained eyes. One of the FPGAs in this unit alone costs $60 for Analogue to buy. That means that there's $140 left to build everything else and make some profit, which to me seems like it's a fairly damn good price. There's two other pieces of software that is noteworthy inside of Analogue Pocket, and that's Nanoloop and GB Studio. GB Studio allows you to create your own Game Boy games, and Nanoloop is a synthesizer to create music on your Pocket. These are two things I'm going to take a look at extensively in another video on my second channel. I've spent a long time on this video trying to make it as informative as possible and also fun for the people who have no idea what any of these big words mean, like myself. This device is a huge deal, so I wanted to throw myself at this video and make it as good as possible. There's a lot of different devices out there, all at massively different price ranges. Yes, you can get something on Wish for £10, but now you can buy something for $200, which should completely dwarf all of the other ones and stay at the top for a very long time. I'm really excited about this thing. Hopefully you are too. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.